All right, our first discussion of the day is underway, and let's begin. Now, Bola Tinubu is known to be a politician who has taken great strides to see to the development of Lagos. Now, with this emergence, him emerging as president-elect of Nigeria, who polled over 8 million votes to beat his rivals, many Nigerians are waiting to see his renewed hope agenda come to play in the development of the country. Now, in a book titled Who's Afraid of Bola Tinubu, he celebrates the strength and relentless efforts of Bola Tinubu during his campaign to become president of Nigeria. It also details his capacity to move Nigeria forward. That's what we'll be talking about next. So joining us in the studio is the author of the book, Who's Afraid of Tinubu, Omolola Kassim. It's nice to have you join me this morning.
I'm very pleased to be here.
Now, the title of this book, Who's Afraid of Bola Tinubu, is quite catchy, I must say. And I believe that you crafted it for that obvious reason. So let's get to it. Why did you cast the title this way anyway?
Obviously, you know that for the first time in the history of Nigeria, you have a presidential election that is being challenged. Challenged, utterly challenged. Recall when
you said the first time that the presidential election is being challenged, in what context? Because we've had almost all the presidential elections from 2003 being challenged in court, 2007 challenged in court, 2011 challenged in court, 2015 challenged in court, 2019 challenged in court.
Now, what I mean is this: you now had a case where the third place contestant would go to court, not only going to court, but go to the social media and start telling Nigerians that he's the winner of an election. Incidentally, the second place person, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of PDP, has not been so aggressive as the obedient group. Now,
But don't they have their rights to do all of that?
Of course, they have their rights.
Very good. Because the point there is, even the last placed person, let's say the 18th candidate,
yes,
if he says he won the presidential election, he has a right until he gets to court with his evidence of how he won the election. Is anything wrong in that?
But there's nothing wrong in that. Okay. Absolutely nothing wrong. Right. But our focus is this: who is afraid of Bola Tinubu? Now, Bola Tinubu, I've been following his trajectory since in 2003, when he was going for the second term in office as the governor of Lagos State. I was fortunate to have been in the campaign group, and then we call it independent campaign group. Now, I attended all the campaigns he had in Lagos, 20 local governments, and I saw in him the potential of a president. As far back as 2003, I knew that this man would go places.
Did you mention to him?
No, I didn't. And he didn't mention it. Okay. Of course, no, he's not a soothsayer, not a seer. But I saw the potential in him, right, that this man, for example, was the last man standing. Of all the AD governors, 6 of them in the Southwest, he was the only one that was not swept away by the whirlwind of a PDP under the presidency of President Olusegun Obasanjo. You recall very well. And up till now, he's still the only man standing. Of course, you knew from his trajectory that this man had a future, that the sky was the limit. Now he's getting to the sky now. And nothing is going to stop him. Obviously, nothing is going to stop him. Although the case is in court, but it's too obvious to every person who could see.
The one in court, let's allow it. Let's just leave the courts. Let's not preempt the court. Let's allow the courts to do what they need to do, and then we all wait. Since the cases are in court, let's leave the courts to come up with that. Now, the point there is, everyone has talked about his successes in Lagos, how he managed Lagos, how he brought Lagos from what it is to what it is now, and then even setting the template. As much as he's no longer the governor since 2007, but he set a template that has kept Lagos running in the way that it is running.
Definitely.
Now, a lot of persons expect that the moment he becomes president from May 29, he is going to replicate the same thing. But the Nigerian dynamics is different from the Lagos dynamics.
Definitely.
What gives you the feeling of hope or confidence and the assurance that he could adequately replicate Lagos in Nigeria?
Yeah, I will refer to chapter 9 of this book,
Okay.
The Magic of Mastermind Alliance. You see, Tinubu had he had one strategy when he was in Lagos.
Okay.
He would use the best brains in every walk of human experience to achieve his goal. He didn't do everything on his own. He had people, professionals, technocrats, who were good, not only good, excellent on their job, and they did a good job. So he will use what we call mastermind alliance. He will be at the top, get the best brains to do the job, like he did in Lagos, and you find Nigeria running well, economically, security-wise. You find that everything will run well. He will not. Of course, he's not going to carry all of the weight of Nigeria on his head. No. When you get the right person in the right place, things will move. No sentiment, no tribal sentiment, no religious sentiment. And of course, he told you, he said, look, I'm looking for competence, not religious sentiment. He said it, and it's quoted in this book. So I've seen in Bola Tinubu a man that can pull Nigeria from the doldrums onto to the promised land. Take us to the promised land. Check Nigeria up in the next 4 years to come. You will see Nigeria will be most probably one of the world powers.
What do you think will be different here in Tinubu's presidency? Recall that in 1999, or let me say 1998, when we were looking towards transiting from the military to civilians, to the civilian regime or civilian administration, Nigerians hoped, believed that that was the beginning of a new dawn that was going to take Nigeria back to the Committee of Nations, high up there where it used to be. Yes. However, he came, he went. In 2003, we were thinking, okay, maybe something new was going to come up. It didn't really necessarily come up. Then in 2007, when that administration was going, a lot of persons expected that, okay, a new administration is coming on board, and so there was going to be something new and something, there was going to be a bang, and then Nigeria will move. Somehow it didn't move. So there has been one administration after the other. Nigerians are still not been able to find that satisfaction. What makes you think this is it now?
Let me take you back a little bit. Let me take you back to 1993.
Okay.
Hope 1993. We thought that if MK Abiola, of blessed memory, because I was in Concord, as a matter of fact,
okay,
and I knew him very well. So we thought that if MK Abiola won the election and came in as the president, Nigeria would be a changed place. Unfortunately, the election was annulled. I'm telling you now that God is now, in His infinite mercy, bringing back MK Abiola in the person of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. 1993 to 2023 is 30 years. You can see that we are now coming back to a new beginning that will bring about a new Nigeria with new economic potentials, new economic realities, with security taken care of, and of course with Nigerians being their brothers' keepers. I want to refer you to the second to the last book, chapter in this book, Tinubu's Milk of Kindness. I think it was in 1996 there was these Siamese twins, these conjoined twins. Okay. Now, when this woman gave birth to these twins at Island Maternity in Lagos, it was an hopeless situation. Of course, that was I won't say a poor family, but not well to do. How could they have gone through the surgical operation to separate the twins? Asiwaju Bola Tinubu came to their rescue as back at that time and got the twins. And the two of them were taken to John Hopkins Hospital in USA.
In the United States.
In the United States. And then they were separated. They are living today. Two of them are now medical students, potential doctors now.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, that's amazing. But that's thanks to Bola Tinubu's Milk of Kindness. That is in chapter 17 of this book. You find it. So this book is going to explain to us that Bola Tinubu is the new beginning for Nigeria. Bola Tinubu is what we have been waiting for. I would say the Redeemer that has come to bring Nigeria out of the doldrums to take us onto the high road to the promised land. I can tell you that by the time you look at Nigeria in 4 years' time, you find a Nigeria that's completely different from this, or what you're having. This Boko Haram thing will be a thing of the past.
Some people would say that, especially when you talk about security.
Yeah.
Some people would say that although President Buhari has done well by trying to we don't hear Boko Haram the way we used to hear Boko Haram anymore, but there are issues of banditry, there are issues of kidnapping, and some said that if Buhari is a retired general, he understands, the nuances and all of the issues around security as a retired general. Well, Bola Tinubu is not a general. He has not been in the security, he hasn't been a security agent and all of that. If a general couldn't handle that, how much more an economist, as the case may be? What do you say to that?
My response to this is this. Don't forget that Bola Tinubu is an astute administrator, competent and manager of men. If a country is well run, there will be no need for insecurities at this level, at this scale. If the country is well run, everybody has one thing or the other to do. If unemployment is gotten out of the way, poverty is reduced, what would be the need to get people kidnapped? When people, for example, if these out-of-school children are back in school, the university is running well, job for everybody to do, and the economy is running fine, there will be little need for insecurities that we're having in the past 8 years or so. You can be sure that if all these myriad of problems are solved, the question of kidnapping, question of banditry, there will be a thing of the past. Everybody will get something to do. Nigeria will be once again prosperous. Prosperity will eliminate insecurity.
Okay. In the chapter 8 of this book,
yes.
Chapter 8 talks about you made a comparison between Awolowo
yes.
and Tinubu, and in chapter 8 you were talking about how Tinubu complements Awolowo. Now talk to us from that window, because since the history of Nigeria, the founding fathers of Nigeria, Awolowo, Sardauna, Azikiwe, and the others, we saw how Awolowo was exceptional at this time, especially with his free education policy, and then bringing television, the first television station in Africa, and all of that. We saw the programs of his action group political party. Now, how do you compare Awolowo with Tinubu in the context of how unique they are in the times that they operate?
Now, let us give it to late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. He's an icon, a sage. And of course, at that time, it was the peak of politics in Yoruba land. He had the Unity Party of Nigeria, UPN. He also had the Action Group.
The Second Republic.
Yes, and the Action Group. But unfortunately, these two political parties never won the presidency in Nigeria. Awolowo tried his best to be president of Nigeria, but he never did.
Yeah.
Now, look at the political trajectory of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He came from that level of a senator to be a governor, two-term governor, and ultimately midwifed the APC, All Progressive Congress. Now, APC brought Yorubas to the center stage of Nigerian politics. APC got presidency twice. You have President Muhammadu Buhari being president 2 times, 2015 and 2019. And again, Bola Tinubu has gotten the presidency the 3rd time on APC platform.
But he wasn't the president in the first 2 instances.
Yes, he wasn't,
okay.
but he midwifed it. Okay. He was instrumental, largely. Was instrumental to the presidency, to the making of President Muhammadu Buhari. We are all living witnesses. But now, what Chief Obafemi Awolowo did not achieve, being president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has achieved it. Now president-elect, by the grace of God, president to be in Nigeria, or president in waiting. Now, you can see the difference now. Awolowo tried his best, but his two parties were at best, they were at best, they were regional parties. They were not in the true sense of it national parties, but APC is a national party. That tells you that beyond what Awolowo did, Bola Tinubu went a step or two further. I've been able to put on the ground a national party, APC, and also to win the presidency, which Awolowo did not. So much as you give Awolowo the credit for doing Yoruba people proud, bringing them into national politics, but Bola Tinubu had actually won, not only midwife a party that won presidency twice, but he himself has been able to win the presidency. At least today is the president-elect. So that's the extra mile that Tinubu has gone, which Awolowo didn't. It's also,
so that explains it in that
course,
context.
And that's the context there.
Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about the controversy of the Muslim ticket in Chapter 13 that you put forward.
You see, fortunately, Bola Tinubu has been able to show Nigeria that religion does not matter. You could be a Christian, you could be an atheist, or a Muslim. What we need in Nigeria is competence. The man who can do the job and do the job well.
Why do you think we still have this bond with the issue of the identity of I am a Muslim or I am a Christian? Why do you think those things are still, visible for us to see?
No, it's because politicians want to win election. They only whip up religious sentiments. You know it too. You know it. If, for example, you can imagine a presidential candidate going to the church, tell them this is a religious war. Who is fighting religious war in Nigeria? Who is fighting religious war in Nigeria? There is no religious war in Nigeria. It was only to buy the votes of the Christians. That was why he did that. But you see now, the Christians have been able to see beyond. Look, there are many Christians in APC who are going to hold key positions. Bola Tinubu will not say because they are Christian. Don't forget that Bola Tinubu's wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, is a Christian. Not only a Christian, but the pastor of the Redeemed Church. How can you beat that? Bola Tinubu is not religiously biased. He's not sentimental about anything. He's not even tribalistic. He's national.
What role do you think this is going to contribute to the way that we view politics? Recall that you mentioned MKO Abiola earlier. Recall that he had also a Muslim running mate.
Yes.
So there was a Muslim ticket at that time. But comparing two of them, one would say that every time Nigeria is transiting from a military to a civilian, we don't mind anything. We just want to leave. So those dynamics or those nuances won't matter. In 1979, during the Shagari era, if they had a Muslim ticket or Christian, nobody would have thought about it because we just wanted to leave the military.
That's true.
In 1993, we saw it. In 1999, we also saw a situation where Obasanjo, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, emerged.
Yes.
If it was also a ticket in that regard, maybe Nigerians wouldn't have minded because they wanted to get rid of the military and move on. But here we are in a democracy now, in the middle of democracy, 20 years running. And the issue of Muslim tickets, some persons still saw it as a topic of discussion, saw it as a topic, something to hold on to. But he went ahead anyway, and now he won the presidential election. Now, how does this demystify all of that thing that we have at the corner of our minds?
Very good. One thing I know about Bola Tinubu from what I've been writing about, incidentally, this is not my first book on him, it's my second book. Bola Tinubu does not fear challenges. He likes taking risk. He took the risk to take Senator Kassim Shettima as the running mate. And he has been able to demystify the idea that religion will determine largely your success in politics. He has been able to tell us whether you are a Muslim or a Christian or a pagan, it shouldn't matter. What matters is your competence.
Right.
What matters is your ability to deliver. And that's what Nigeria needs. Absolutely, that is what Nigeria needs. And thank God that he has been able to win it. So next time we are preaching an election, nobody will come and tell you, yeah, we want Christian, or we want Muslims. We know that it doesn't matter now. Bola Tinubu has been able to demystify that mystery.
Yeah, so you think that this now opens the door?
It does. It opens the door
for a possible Christian ticket someday.
Of course.
Or even a female ticket someday.
Don't forget that Chief Obafemi was a Christian. He was a Christian, and both Muslims and Christians and pagans held him in high esteem as a political figure for Western region in those days. Who was talking about being a Muslim or being a Christian? Nobody ever talked about it. Why should people now start being beating up this religious sentiment? Anyway, Bola Tinubu has been able to demystify that religious, religious sentiment. I mean, so to tell us that what we need in Nigeria is competence. Somebody who will deliver, who will bring Nigeria out of this.
And that is what Nigerians are looking forward to right now.
Definitely.
That's delivering, that deliverable, someone who would take us to the promised land. Now, let's talk about, in one of the chapters, you mentioned the tasks ahead of Tinubu. And everybody, in fact, if it were a movie that this book is, it is where people will say gang gang. You know, those days we used to watch movies.
Yes,
the moment you hear gang gang, it means we've come to the crescendo of the movie. Yeah. Now, talk to us, what tasks do you think that are daunting that Tinubu has to face headlong, and especially very quickly when he gets into office from May 29th?
There are 3 tasks he has to solve, 3 major tasks. One is economy. Second is insecurity.
Okay.
And of the 3 tasks, the most serious one is insecurity.
Okay.
Because no foreign investor wants to come to the country that is insecure. I mean, everybody wants to be sure that you want to go to bed with your 2 eyes closed. Where you have somebody, I mean, looking at your back, you want to. I mean, you cannot be at peace. So when you talk of, if Bola Tinubu succeed in solving the insecurity problem, kidnapping, banditry, Boko Haram, terrorism, even international terrorism, because when you have these ISIS and ISWAP all bombarding Nigeria, particularly towards the middle of President Muhammad Buhari's regime, I mean, it was terrible. When you have Abuja, the federal capital territory, being bombarded, I mean, that was terrible for a country. But if this is solved, then the economic issue will be solved. And of course, unemployment too will be solved.
All right.
So the basic thing Bola Tinubu has to solve is insecurity. The economic issue, people want to put 3 square meals on the table, and then be able to send their children to schools of their choice.
Okay.
And then, of course, if that one is solved too, unemployment will find its way out of Nigeria.
All right. So insecurity, unemployment. What's the third one?
Economic woes.
Okay. All right. All right. We have to leave it here, but we thank you so much, Omolola Kassim, for authoring this book, Who is Afraid of Bola Tinubu? And you've gone further to explain some of the things, the personality of Tinubu. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.